Wilt Chamberlain, also known as the Big Dipper, Goliath, and one of my favorite nickname of his, the record book, is truly the most dominant player to have ever played in NBA history. He is second to none, and it's not even close in my opinion. To me, Wilt and Michael Jordan are the two greatest players to ever play in the NBA. Those are my 1A, 1B players. If you say MJ's the GOAT, or if you say Wilt's the GOAT, you truly wouldn't get, honestly, you wouldn't even get an argument from me, because those two are the best players ever to play in the league. But Wilt's style of play was just insanely dominant. Again, one of his nicknames is the record book. He truly is the record book. The guy has 72 NBA records. I'll be here all day just listing off all these records. So we can just start out with a few. So Wilt is the only player in NBA history to score 4,000 points in a season. He set the NBA single game record for the most points in a game. Of course, we know the legendary 100-point game. The man dropped 100 points in a single game on March 2nd, 1962. The same season where he averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds. That's the highest average per game in a season in terms of scoring, 50 points. Nobody's ever going to touch that record. It's going to go down in history as the best scoring record ever. I'm telling you, nobody's going to touch that 50-point record. People try to disrespect Wilt all the time, saying the man didn't play competition. Oh, look who Wilt was playing, blah, blah, blah. Or even disrespect players from back in the day. But back then, the game was more physical. The guy was playing against tough, physical defense. The man was going against Bob Pettit, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Nate Thurman. Come on, you're going to say that man didn't play against competition when the game back then was more physical than it is in this new modern era of basketball where you can barely touch anyone? Come on now. Wilt Chamberlain, most dominant player ever. And they have the stats right here, man. They kept the box score. So how the man actually scored 100 points in a game. And that's another record no one will ever touch in NBA history. That 100-point game is Wilt's record. So look what he did that game. He made 36 out of 63 field goals. And the reason why he scored 100 points this game was because of the free throws he made. So you know how Shaquille O'Neal, when they used to try to slow the game down and slow him from dominating the game, they will do as we know, the hack of Shaq, where they foul Shaq and make him shoot foul shots because they know he wasn't a good free throw shooter. So Wilt, his biggest weakness in his game, Wilt Chamberlain, was his free throw shooting. But for some reason, this game, that hack of Shaq, hack a bad free throw shooter strategy on the Wilt Chamberlain did not work, unfortunately for the Knicks, because as we see, he shot 87% from the foul line that game, making 28 out of 32 free throw attempts. And the man had 25 boards in the game. Come on now. Most dominant player ever. And it's not close. In my opinion, Shaq is definitely up there. I'll have Shaq as the second most dominant player because the man definitely played with great force. But, man, Wilt Chamberlain put up great numbers. So, Wilt Chamberlain, he retired as the all-time leader in career points with 31,419. The man was insanely great, man. And Wilt only played 14 seasons in the league. These players, as you know, like LeBron, playing 22 seasons. A lot of these players are playing over 15 years, playing up to 16, 17, 18 seasons. Again, back then, players didn't really play that long. But, again, he did more in less time, like I always say about these great NBA legends from yesteryear. So look what the man did. You see that gold right there? He is the all-time record holder in most total rebounds average per game with 22.9 rebounds. Look what he was doing in his career. Nobody rebounds like Wilt Chamberlain. He is truly the best rebounder ever. People want to say Dennis Rodman. Some people even got Bill as one of the best rebounders ever. Most Malone is up there, but bro, nobody record numbers are even close to Wilt Chamberlain's. He is truly the record book. Just look at the numbers. 27 rebounds one season, 27, 25, 24, 22, 23, 24, 24. Look at this, man. The man was averaging at least 18 rebounds every single season he played. Nobody ever rebounded like Wilt. And also, he has the record for the most rebounds in the NBA game, which is 55. Come on now. Again, I'll be here all day just talking about and listing off all his the records that he has. But the man was goated, man. The man was GOAT. Look at the numbers he put up in 1962 and 1963. He had a 100-point game. Of course, these are his career highs. He had a 100-point game. He had a 78-point game in 1961. He had a 73-point game twice in January 13th, 1962 and November 16th, 1962. He had a 72-point game in November 1962, and he had a 70-point game in March 1963. The guy is a bucket. The guy is a top 5 scorer ever. In my opinion, he's the best scorer ever. Yeah, the guy was truly dominant. And again, the record book, one of his nicknames. He truly was that. One of my favorite Wilt Chamberlain stats, this is an amazing stat in my opinion. So, in the 1967 season, Wilt Chamberlain became the first player in NBA history to shoot over 54% from the field. And look what he did. He did it by shooting 68% from the field. That is amazing. He was also the first NBA player in history to shoot 50% from the field and 60% from the field. And also, look at that. He was the first player in NBA history to shoot 70% from the field as well. All in different seasons. Wilt Chamberlain, truly the most dominant player, man, in NBA history. And also, I didn't even mention how Wilt Chamberlain holds the record for the most minutes average per game as well. The guy was doing, of course, he's putting up all these amazing numbers, and he was such a dominant player. Coaches was like, we cannot put this guy on the bench. The guy was a weapon. The guy was a true human juggernaut. Excuse me. He was a true human juggernaut, man. The guy has the most 50-point plus games, 118. Most consecutive points with 40-plus point games. And most consecutive games with 30 points, 65. Man had 65 consecutive 30-point games, 14 40-plus point games. Like, look at the records. Y'all can see the screen. Most dominant player ever. And we see his accomplishments in his career. Led the league in rebounds 11 times. Wilt, I know his biggest flaw is the amount of championships he won. But, of course, he was playing against Bill Russell, who was on a more loaded team for multiple years. And we know Wilt won 2 chips. He got 1 Finals MVP. Man, Rookie of the Year, 4-time MVP. He won MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same season as well. The man led the league in scoring 7 times. The 67 season in my opinion, is Wilt Chamberlain's greatest season ever. The guy had to cut down his scoring. So he was playing with the Sixers. They got a new coach, and he was playing with great players, Howard Greer. And he knew he had to change his style of play. He knew he didn't have to score 50 points every night. He changed his style of play, and he took less shots. As you see, that season he averaged 24 points, which was his lowest up until then, from when he first started in the NBA. And, of course, he was still just a dominant rebounder. And he averaged 7 assists that season. And also, a fun fact about Wilt Chamberlain is he's the only center in NBA history to lead the league in assists. So the guy was a true all-around basketball player, man. I'm telling y'all, the most dominant player in league history. Man, we can take a look at some clips of Wilt Chamberlain going to work, man. The guy was so gifted. Look at him. Look how he did Bill Russell dirty. Look at that fact. Whoop. Look at that fake. More skill. Look at that fadeaway off the backboard. Fadeaway shot off the glass. That was his bread and butter as well. That was Wilt Chamberlain's bread and butter. That fadeaway shot off the glass. Yeah, the guy was amazing, y'all. Look at the guy was a great player. Look at the vertical leap. The man hand is over the square. You cannot teach that. Wilt Chamberlain, the most dominant player in NBA history, and it's not even close. You guys, tell me your thoughts and opinions about Wilt Chamberlain. Do you agree with me that he's also the most dominant player to ever play in the NBA? Do you also have him as a top 2 greatest player in league history? And yeah, again, just tell me your thoughts and opinions. All right, until next video.